You know you're in for an interesting video when the guy wearing the Batman shirt is talking about Mean Girls. So I did my out of theater reaction last night, and just to reiterate the basis of how I started out, and just so you get an idea where I'm coming from with this. I have never watched Mean Girls. I've seen it in sparse pieces. I've seen clips. I've watched like Cinema Therapy's breakdown of the movie. So I have seen the movie, but I've also known it in the zeitgeist for so long that I know everything about the movie. So I at least had an understanding of the movie, the concepts, like the plot, all of it. I had an understanding. Never watched it, but I had an understanding. Uh, and so with all that being said, I can tell you right now, I don't think I'd like the original Mean Girls. Now, when did the original Mean Girls come out? Hold on. That would have been 2000 and, I want to say it's 5? Mean Girls, the 2000 and, let's see here. That's the newest one. The original Mean Girls from 2000 and, come on. I don't want that one. I want 2004. Okay. 2004 was when the original Mean Girls came out. I would have been, how old would I have been? I would have been around 15-ish. 14, 15. So as a 14, 15-year-old guy, not to say that guys can't enjoy this movie. I'm not saying that at all. I know plenty of guys who actually do. And that's fine. I'm just saying it's 14, 15-year-old guy who's likes for more into sci-fi action and all that. And I love comedy, but this really wasn't up my alley. But looking at it now, I'm like, I don't think I would have enjoyed it even if it was up my alley. I did not like this film very much. Didn't hate it. It's nowhere near as bad as Night Swim. And I love musicals. And this is also based off of apparently the musical they made of the book, which this is based off of as well. But that said, just because I love a genre doesn't mean there are art movies in the genre I dislike. If anything, it's a point that I don't like every movie out of a genre, to show you I'm not just a yes man. Maybe I have just aged out of high school based movies like this. But, and I mean, like, yeah, it's all played up, but really all this is just slice of life exaggerated a little bit. That's all it is. And maybe as a guy who's been out of high school now, going on the better part of a decade and a half, and been through college and all that, so I've been through all this already. I don't really find a personal appeal to this. That is not to take away from the people who like this, though, because let me tell you, I don't know what's going on with Box Office Mojo today. Let me just get that up real quick. Box Office Mojo, so they do it day by day, and they'll get the weekend numbers. You want to know what Box Office Mojo says Mean Girls made in its opening Friday? Millions? Tens of hundreds of thousands? $11,650,000 with 3,791 screens. And they said about 50 screens theaters had to close. But even if 50 theaters had to close and there was at least, I don't know, 3 screens each, that's 150. Even if you take that out of the equation, that's 3,641 screens still around. Someone fucked up those numbers, because there is no way on God's green earth, given the fact that I had at least 200 people in my Friday showing. $12 a pop, by the way, is what the average ticket price generally is right now for my theater. At $12 a pop, do the math on that. 200 times 12, that's $2,400 on that screen alone. In that one showing, where there are multiple showings going on. And I don't know who is running Box Office Mojo today, but they screwed up hard on that. It's estimated this movie's probably going to do like $30 million opening weekend for the Martin Luther King Day weekend. Look, again, I'm just going by based on my theater. That number seems really low. That seems astronomically low based on what I had in my screen. But maybe it's just because it was Friday, it was peak showtime. But is this movie trash? It's not trash, no. In fact, I can even point out things I liked about the movie. I think all the leads did a very good job. They actually felt, even though they're all exaggerated to some degree, particularly, who is it? Jaquel, is it Jaquel, Jaquel. That's usually a Quell. Jaquel Spivell, who plays Damien, he's definitely exaggerated, but as the joke is, he's almost too gay to function. It's like, but I cope. It's like, look, okay, you want to, if that's who you are, great. Just know you are a stereotype. You were the one who perpetuates that stereotype. Yeah, he's a little extreme. And I really find it hard to believe someone could be as dumb as Karen Shetty, but there are people that dumb. Who's in this version played by Avatika. Originally was the Amanda Seyfried character in the original movie. And obviously I believe it's Rachel McAdams who played her, if I'm not mistaken, in the Regina George in the original. It's Renee Rapp. And then obviously it's Lindsay Lohan in the original. And here we have Angourie Rice, who I struggled. I'm like, where the hell do I know this girl from? Like, she is, I have seen her before, and it's driving me crazy. And you know where I've seen her from? 2 different movies, as it turns out. I'm like, holy shit, that's right. Oh man, she does not have. Oh, that's what she's known for. Not her whole. She's basically Betty Brand in the Spider-Man series. The girl who's like, who Ned dates in Far From Home. She's like on the daily, like the daily newsletter, and she was the daughter in The Nice Guys, which a movie I think is very underrated, very funny movie. But yeah, like that's where I know her from. Like she's gotten older. Holy crap. Yeah, all the actors and actresses are good. They're good. Like when a joke landed, I got a laugh. Honestly, I had a good time. They felt very much like real people in many ways. Not all of them. A lot of them felt like real people. The love interest felt like a real guy. Even though, weirdly enough, in my high school, I don't recall there being really any cliques. There were groups of friends, big groups of friends, people who knew people, and you definitely had like the theater club and all that, but there weren't the there weren't the plastics. There wasn't any of the, if you were to theoretically look at everyone, attitudes, demeanors, what they like, you could theoretically throw them into categories, but I didn't really have much of that in my high school. That being said, for the high schools that do have it, you buy a lot of these cliques, absolutely. Well, I'll say this, the songs are, some of them are good. There's one that I'm listening, it's one of the songs Regina sings. And I think most of them actually sang they recorded their own music, dubbed their own music. There's one that Regina sings, it's at the party, and it's talking about how she's kind of misunderstood and how she got her heart broken, whatever. And I'm listening to it, I'm like, you changed the lyrics up on this just a bit. And this could be, no joke, this could be a Bond intro song. Like, just a little bit. Warp it just a little bit. But yeah, this could be literally a James Bond intro song. That's how, like, good it is. I'm like, damn. There are other songs, too, that are pretty fun. Sorry, I had to just swap. I had something on the top of my desk here. Just had to move it over. But there's some other decent songs as well, all things considered. Trying to think here. Anything else that really stood out? Like Tina Fey, I liked, what's his name? Oh, Tim Meadows, always like seeing him show up. Lindsay Lohan has a cameo. It's a bigger cameo than Whoopi Goldberg had in Color Purple. Jenna Fisher, is it Fisher? Is the mom. So look, I get it. I liked the two. I liked Damien, played by again Jaquel, and I liked Janice, played by Alue Cravajo. Sorry if I'm butchering your name. I'm sorry. I like both of them. So yeah. Problem here though. Again, as I get older, I can still remember some of my high school. In fact, I can still remember a good chunk of my high school days. Can't remember everything. So I look at how I might have reacted to something with a bit of rose-colored glasses in hindsight now. But I look at some of the way people like in this world kind of react, and I'm like, no, that makes no logical sense. Why is everyone obsessed with Regina and the plastics? Like, they're not all that impressive. Yeah, they clearly come from like wealth, at least Regina does. And they got that boss bitch mentality, which is fine. I'm sure a lot of people would fall, but why does everyone just like, it's like, oh God. It's like, honestly, I'd probably notice them in high school, but I'd be like, yeah, okay. Which would then probably put me in their eye lines. It's like, why aren't they paying attention to us? Doesn't he know that we are amazing? He should want me. It's like, you're attractive, but no. Sorry. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact she's gay, I'd go for Janice over anyone in this movie, but her character's gay, so I'm out of luck there. Yeah, like nothing. While I do say these seem like real people, in terms of how they are performed in their situations to some degree, it doesn't seem real how they're reacting to some things, particularly Katie, or Caddy in this case, Katie Harrod. Particularly Katie, because here's one good thing I'll say about Katie here, and I do remember this from the Lindsay Lohan one. Lindsay Lohan, I actually bought the innocence corruption thing a little bit more here because Katie is played a lot more innocent, more naive, and more realistically innocent and naive than Lindsay Lohan. And honestly, I think what that comes down to is the hindsight. We know what was going on with Lindsay Lohan behind the scenes. The fact that she was, product of the Hollywood system, had a lot of issues with drugs and alcohol. That she's cleaned up her act in not just recent years, in many years. She's been clean and more productive in her life and her career for a long time now. But I think that knowledge jades maybe at least subconsciously jades my view of the character. Whereas here, I don't know anything about Angourie Rice, so I don't know what's going on in her life. As far as I know, everything's fine with her. But I don't know. I think maybe it's also because she's very young too. She just comes off a lot more soft. That's the perfect way. She comes off like a soft touch compared to Lindsay Lohan. I think it's also because Lindsay Lohan at the time was a much more established name than Angourie Rice is. Not to say she's a nobody, but Angourie Rice is a lot less known at this point in her career than Lindsay Lohan was back then. So I think that might have a factor to it. So I like the fact that it seems it's a much more believable, in one sense, story for her to be corrupted by the youth. Corrupted by the populism, I guess is the term, the popular girls, and turned into one of them. At the same time, though, I think one of my problems with this entire story is, again, maybe it's just hindsight and age and learning to just not be a sheep, but I find it difficult to believe even someone who's naive and new at things would be able to just be molded like clay like that. Not just by the plastic, but by her friends too, her alleged friend. Like, that's one thing if you ever watch Cinema Therapy, by the way, I recommend their Ellen Searight and oh crap, what was I watch them every week. I rewatch their stuff all the time. I love them. One's a therapist, one's a filmmaker. They're best friends. And they talk about movies. They talk about from a therapist standpoint, like talking about the hero's journey, the psychology of a villain, dealing with grief and someone dealing with failure. I love their stuff. They did Mean Girls, and they did show a scene where it is addressed that you kind of made her become this person in a way. She didn't actively want to do that. And you wanted to get back at someone who would hurt you. And you kind of molded her along with the plastics. This was a group effort. Now, weirdly enough, I do believe it's in the original that there is an acknowledgement of that on Janice's part. Here, that's not. By the way, I don't give a crap about spoiling anything because the movie is just the original movie with music. That's all. So I'm not spoiling anything here. The movie's been around for 20 years. If you haven't seen the original, sorry. Yeah, I think the lack of acknowledgement on Janice's part kind of turned me off a little bit more, but it's very minor. honestly, when things go, when things turn sideways for Katie in this, you feel genuinely bad for her because she realizes it, and you realize, and you know, she got in way over her head, and she didn't realize the damage she was causing until it was too late, and here she is, the harbinger of doom now. So, but that being said, I find it hard to believe someone could be that blank a slate. Like, I get it. I get you have not had a lot of social interaction. You've been living in Kenya most of your life. But still, it's that easy to mold you? And she has a song about being in love when she was 9, giving flowers. He laughed, she cried, whatever. Those are actual lines in the song. And her relationship, her romance is kind of cute until they even point out the stupid things she's done. And yeah, like, I know there are people that are that sheltered, and I know they can be that manipulated, that are that trusting and naive. I know it. It's just hard for me to grasp my head around it sometimes. Like, think for yourself just a little bit. Which also, to go on to echo Rice, as much as she is a good actress, not the best singer in the world. She had, like 3 or 4 songs. One of them was all right. But you can tell they are auto-tuning her quite a bit. In fact, that's a problem I think with a lot of, some of the songs are perfectly easy to hear. Others are more difficult. The song that Regina has at the party, I think, is the best one in the movie. It's, like I said, that change it up just a little bit. It could be a Bond song. But others, I'm like, when I'm listening, I'm like, what did you say? Like, I think the dubbing or I think the sound dubbing on that was just, something's off on that. Because occasionally I can't hear what she's saying, or it's just, I think the music is drowning out her voice just a little bit. As for Katie, on the other hand, she's like, it's so flat and monotone. It's Emma Watson in Beauty and the Beast again, honestly. Truly, it is. I'm listening to this like, ooh, oh, I gotta deal with this. Which leads me to another problem in the movie. I don't know what I was looking forward to more, when we would go back to a song or when we would go back to the story. Because both were kind of painful for a while. Because it's the biggest word that pops into my mind with this is cringe. I cringed a lot at this. Because I'm like, oh God, like, was I that bad? I can't be that. I couldn't have been that bad in high school. I don't think any of my friends were that bad in high school. Dear God. And Regina's mom, like, oh God, stop this. Please stop this. Oh God, stop this, please. Just like, I'm the cool mom, and yeah, girlfriends. Oh God, make it stop. With all that said, however, unlike with the Beekeeper, the previous day, where it kind of wrapped up a little too quick, this one actually wrapped up pretty nicely. Like, with unlike the Beekeeper, which had the problem like in the literally last 5 minutes, just like, and this one actually was able to wrap everything up pretty well. The last, I want to say 20 minutes is actually solid. Honestly, there's music, there's obviously songs, music, all that. I liked the last 20 minutes, and there are intermittent jokes and moments I like throughout the movie, but this is not, while I love music, I really do love music. Made my top 10 last week, loved Wonka. That is a musical. I loved it. This is one of those musicals where, because it's based partly on a Broadway show, the songs they're using from the show don't necessarily translate into a theater medium. Again, this is all for me, my opinion. I can tell you right now, like I said, I'm not lying, there might have been 200 people on my screen, and the screen wasn't even filled up completely. That's very, for most of those people, most people seem to enjoy that film. So this film's actually probably going to do very well. I don't know what this film's made on, though. What is Mean Girls 2024 made on? Let me see if I can find a budget. Oh, budget, $36 million. That's, by Hollywood standards, that's chump change. That is chump change. With the marketing, though, we did get the marketing quite a bit. Not like a huge amount, but I'm willing to bet at least 30 in marketing. So you're looking at 66. The movie has $99 million. It's good. And you know what? Based on what I'm hearing, let me actually get the let me see what the box office Mojo says, what the critics are, how they're giving it a review. Because Beekeeper got actually a very positive review of like 67%, which I was 68, which I was impressed by. 70% for Mean Girls. How many reviews are here? Observing the essence of the original, adding a few new wrinkles, not to mention musical numbers. Mean Girls is sweet. It's a slight update for the outstanding cast. Okay, it's 146 critics. Yeah, it's going to stick at the 70%. Out of the 250 plus audience members, though, 69% like the movie. Less audience members like the movie than the critics. Interesting. Okay, that might pose a problem for it. But again, it only has to hit like 99 million just to break even. If the Martin Luther King Day numbers are holding like around 30, it's supposed to open at. And if my guess is actually right, that it might actually be higher, despite theaters closing for, snowstorms. This should be. It's all about the legs. Like, opening weekend's one thing. If you can open strong, great. But it's all about the legs. So, I mean, if it opens on the 30, it's going to be getting like nearly all of its budget back in opening weekend. Not to mention the international market, whatever that's going to look like. So, yeah, we'll see what happens here. But until then, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Have you seen the movie? What'd you think? Let me know in the comments below. I'll see you folks for the next one.